Hello everyone, it's Sloth here. Today we are going with the Dimir control deck, but it won't be a typical control deck. It will be a KEFNET based deck. So for those of you that do know this card, it's pretty sweet, but for those that do not, it's a 4 mana, 4/5 flying creature, and every time you draw a card for the first time this turn, so every draw step from your turn, and if you draw anything on the enemy turn, it also counts for the draw and the trigger. If you hit, like you reveal the top card from your deck, and if it's an instant or sorcery, you can copy it with the discount, 2 mana discount. So that's amazing, and the whole deck that you can see here is based on this effect. So the idea is that after we hit KEFNET and we get to draw 1 or 2 times, we should probably be buried in card advantage. And it's also tempo advantage because everything just comes faster. So as you can see, the whole deck is built around it, and we have even more like cute stuff because we also substitute part of our land base with the double-edged, the land spell cards, and when you reveal those, they count as a spell, a sorcery spell or an instant spell, and they get discount. So right now you can play this land and get 1 mana scry of 6 cards, for example, or you can have 1 mana discard enemy card from the hand and still have a land. So when it works, it's amazing synergy and it really speeds you up. So honestly, I had opponents that gave up after seeing 1 removal spell that's removed, and as you can see, KEFNET discounts by 2 colorless mana, so only the colorless mana is discounted. And as you can see here, all of our cards are made specifically so they have this 2 colorless mana card cost. So Raska is for 2 mana, those cards are for 1 mana. You can use 1 black mana for removals. You can even use Shadow Verdict for 3 mana, which is insane. It also helps if you have 4 mana, you can't get a land drop, and you only have 4. So without the discount, you wouldn't be able to cast it. With it, sometimes you can. So those are the small things. And also, we have synergy with the Arund, because his Raven form gives you Scry too. So you can just, shuffle things, so you can play the big cards with discount. And let me tell you, if you are able to use 6 mana and then scry 4 and draw 4, this will win you a game. Especially late game when, for example, you are at 8-9 mana, you still get to hold the counter spell. So things like this just win you the game outright. If you have hit Shadow Verdict against any kind of aggro deck, you wipe everything for 3 mana and you still have a wipe. At this point they see it and they usually concede. So this is a very good synergy if it works, and 4 mana isn't huge for KEFNET, and he's very durable, so often you can just block with it and just, slow the game enough that if the enemy can't directly remove it, he just falls behind in 2 turns. We also have Arund Epiphany. It also synergizes very well with the KEFNET because this is on the draw step. So if you get additional turn, you get additional chance to trigger this. However, you need additional mana on top of this. So you need at least 7 mana to benefit from this. However, if you filter it and have 7 mana, it's worth enough. So if you hit Silundi, Pelaka Predation or Removal, it's already worth it, and you get additional turn with everything, so it's just good. Especially that KEFNET is a flyer, so he always hit the enemy in the face. Nearly. Not always, but you know the idea. So that's the idea behind this deck. Is it very competitive? I would say it isn't. It's for sure not tier 1. However, when you go for gold and platinum, generally you will win quite a lot. So it's solid deck, is very fun, especially when you start copying the spells and the enemy just sees your 2 mana removals with exile effect and gain life and everything. So it's fun to play. and it's pretty strong. It's not tier 1, but definitely it's playable, and you can probably go to diamond without much trouble with this. I'm not sure about mythic. I think you shouldn't, but you know, it depends. So I don't think it's worth crafting exclusively to play this deck, unless you want to have a lot of fun. If you are a guy who wants the, you know, much fun interactions, that's a really nice deck to play, and I will keep it and I will play for sure. I really enjoy the KEFNET idea, and I think this deck tries to bring the best from him, especially that you can even small things like font size. It's just so fun. You get to double everything you have. So one last synergy that it's not easy to spot at the first glance. You can actually cycle the sensor on the enemy turn, and this counts as a draw. So it's 1 mana, trigger KEFNET. So even if you play it, the enemy removes it on his turn, you still can benefit from it. So, you know, a lot of small things. And I assume you are bored to death with this story, but I just like Dimir and KEFNET decks too much. So let's go to the games, and remember, if you like the channel, subscribe. I will try to make as much videos as possible, and I enjoy the Dimir and Esper, so if you are one of those guys, I am pretty sure you will like the content. So enjoy the games, and thanks. And we are going first with a Scanta and Counterspell. So that's the best case. Always when I see this kind of hands, like full draw and counter spells, I'm often like a bit scared of super aggressive decks if they, you know, make 3 creatures by turn 2, and then you countered one of those, and that's all you did, and you cannot remove them. So then it starts to become like praying for some mass removal. However, it's very rare that they get such an amazing draw. And this guy knows the stuff. Like, that's the life hack for you guys. Just Control Z everything, and that's it. So what are we thinking, Mr. Control Z? Probably if we should keep it. So what do we play first? This one is so far away, and we always need blue mana, so let's just go with this. Swamp. And this will be a 4th land, one way or the other, so we can treat it as an untapped land. This seems to be some kind of control. And then we want a Scanta as soon as possible. It could be even Esper, but I see them so rarely here that I assume it shouldn't be Esper. Okay, but it might be. Or it might be just Azorius, so white and blue. This card is usually in some combo decks. I don't think it's good enough for control because it's a sorcery, so there are better cards. Okay, and let's see what the enemy has. Minister of Inquiries. Okay, so it's a mirror deck. Okay. And we will take this. Okay, and mill deck, that's important thing. For 3 mana, I don't think they have anything super scary. Well, they have this Teferi 3 enchantment that makes you mill cards every time he draws. And this is actually the main win condition. So I'm not sure if it will be creature based. It doesn't seem to be like the enchantment based deck that I think about, but it might be this. So, you know, I will wait. I don't want to lose the game because we have no way of removing enchantments, so if that's what he plays, he just draws cards and we die. And next turn I can do the same thing pretty much. Well, not the same, but I can forter the counter spell and then the next turn. That's not something I like. Ascanta is super important for us. So, you know, at this point I prefer to keep it. He might draw another, but it's possible that until this time we already flip it. And now we have 2-2, so we can do 2 actions per turn. So at this point, if he does it again, we can just switch to Maze Mind Tome. I'm not sure what this deck, so this seems to be Mir with some plan of like defense against other aggro decks. Like against aggro decks, sorry. Hard to judge. I also think if there's any graveyard play, so we probably keep it as long as possible and then just play it. There might be some graveyard play here. Some foul play. We'll see. At this point I just want to draw my card. Like I really want to draw my card. And see what we get. Font size would be very helpful to figure out what exactly enemy is doing, what kind of cards. Does he has this 4 mana sorcery with kicker that like kicks half of your library? Then we need counter spells. And we have enough lands, we need to get something that does stuff. So now we can go for the draw. Let's just go for the KEFNET. The apparition doesn't hit KEFNET. Oh, like I think it hits, but it will go to the library and I will get 4 mana, like 4/4 after I do it, so it's acceptable. We also use Fabled Passage to pump the Ascanta. So this is one of the moves that I'm not exactly sure if that's correct. However, I don't really have much to do except removing creatures that cannot be removed and drawing cards with this and this. So I prefer to have something that actually gives a threat to him. Because if he doesn't react to it in like 2 or 3 turns, we probably win the game from the advantage that it gives with the cards. If we don't play it after 3 turns, the situation is pretty much the same as in the beginning. And we don't really have counter spells, so it's not like we are protecting anything. The enemy like could think we have counter spells, but usually they still play the threats anyway. So they just call your bluff and you just lose. Okay, so that's not the worst. So we keep the KEFNET pretty much. Yep. We take it. Okay, so it was exiled. And the exiled card owner creates a token. Yes, and that's true. So it doesn't matter that he, like this was, this isn't in the board with the apparition. It just needs to be exiled. However, we cannot use the Fabled Passage, so that's some small consolation prize for him. And I will scry at this point, both to get KEFNET faster, and let's just make stop, in case I want to go for the double. Okay, and my turn. So now the question, do we want KEFNET badly? He doesn't seem to have way to remove it. We are far from Ascanta, so let's see. Like KEFNET isn't the only card that I want, so okay, that's fine. That's fine, but then we don't get the KEFNET, unfortunately. That's unfortunate, I wanted both, like really much. And we only have untapped lands, so it's not that... Is it worth it? I didn't see any kind of removal so far, so it's possible they have problems removing it. You know what, we have 4 of those, so let's just go with this. Like, we have 4 KEFNETs, and while it's good card, very good card in the deck, it's not like the only threat. Don't tell me you have counter spells. He has some kind of instant though. Oh, or maybe just Hollow Blade trigger. And let's just play the graveyard stuff. As you can see, mana is super important, and it will be even more after we kill the... after we get Ascanta. Oh, will I do it in time? Okay, and right now we can scry and just draw without any mana, and I like this idea a lot. Sensor is fine, it's just an extra card that we can cycle. So, we are going for an instant, especially that he sees the card, because we need to reveal it. But after we cycle it, we just have an unknown card, so it's just some extra synergy. You know, just getting those small bits of value here and there. However, we need to see. I still don't exactly know how the enemy wants to kill us. So far it seems to be a cross of aggro deck, control and mill, but we didn't see the mill part. So at this point he mills himself more than us. Okay. Fabricate. I think that's the first card since months I've seen anyone using with Fabricate. And it's quite fine for us. So is this more of an aggro deck, or I'm clueless? It just seems to have a little bit of everything. Or maybe it was like this energy card. Maybe he uses it more for energy and not really for the mirror. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, so 4 HP isn't huge deal. We cannot block because we even don't trade with the card. Okay, it's 4. I really don't want too many lands. Let's draw, because we will do it anyway. Okay, and as you can see we still get lands, so that's what we actually expected. And do we play the second Alrund as a Raven? I think we do. So far this deck seems to be more about... it seems to be more about aggro than control in any way, or milling. So maybe that was a false assumption that this card is the deck. However, logically, if you have any kind of mill deck, you need to stay alive, so this and this helps by a lot. Okay, and we do want lands. And I wanted just to hit any card. And of course we did. Oh man, this is the pain with the Alrund if you don't get to scry with the Maze Mind Tome. When we ask for instant, we usually get double lands, and when we like to guess the lands, we usually get an instant. And I did this just to keep Hollow Blade on the, blocking path. But we will do it anyway with the removal of Angel of Invention. But then it would force him to do something even before he attacks. And now when we try to remove it, then he can answer. So it just gives him one additional level of play, which I didn't really want to give him. Okay, that's fine. That's not really a great card. It's super slow and the tempo is all we need. Because our cards generally are better and draw more, and we can remove all the board after we draw the correct card. So we know. We just need the tempo and time. And we can flip a Skanta next turn. Okay, and I just realized something. If I kill it, then my Alrunt is smaller. That's bad. That's bad. That's my huge mistake. However, I'm pretty sure I will do it anyway, just to fill the graveyard. But I don't really need to. I can cycle the sensor. This could kill his card though. Let's pass it. We are at 17, so that's not super scary. And I would prefer not to lose stuff. We could also kill Apparition, get our 4/4, but it will die for his one card, so it's not like we get a lot. And I want to make sure that he ends his turn, because 2 mana is something you can still use for some deadly plays that completely destroys us. Not like Ultimatum, you can just use a 2 mana thing, you know? And don't ask me what is it, I have no idea. Okay, so at this point I think we just remove it. If he protects it, that's fine. He might protect it, I think. Like, if this is some kind of... I don't know. Like, it seems to be aggro and not aggro at the same time. With the Hollow Blade you never know if he's just slow to react and pass the turn, or he actually has something. From what I've noticed, they usually don't just forget that it's their move. But sometimes they might have it. Like the protection or anything like this. They can even have a negate. Negate is actually very good for them. So, we have 7 cards. So we don't need to bin this just to flip a Skanta, so we just take the card if it's good. Shadow Verdict would be the best. This is also pretty fine, so I guess we take it. With a Skanta we can just start trading 1 for 1 and that's fine for us. Okay, and let's start counting. This 4 mana is for a Skanta, so we have 4. So we either go for this, which we can forter anyway. It doesn't lower the Alrunt. And actually we can just... yeah, we can just kill this. This guarantees that we draw with the Raven. And we still can remove with Hagra. So let's see what we might get. I'm still surprised if he has any cards or just sticks without reason, like with the Hollow Blade. Okay, I really like this one. So we finally draw, and without the Raven we wouldn't know that taking 2 sorceries is the way. That's very rarely the way. much better. And now we can block the Harrow Blade even. So the enemy knows that this is the last turn he has. However, with Hagra Mauling we can kill his creature and make 4/4 blocker, and this is still 5/5, so we can double block, so he can make on the board 1 damage. So it's all on him what he actually starts to do with his mana. He has 7 next turn. I still have no idea what this is. Artifact. But you don't have any kind of artifact in the deck. Like, trying to guess those kind of decks is super hard. Okay. So this will be... Okay, so he will bring back the Anger, probably. And then we kill the... Then we kill it. And exile everything from the graveyard next turn. Okay. I can make it. We could also go for the Skyclave Apparition and then kill 2 creatures, which actually might be better. We will see if he makes the tokens. And as you can see, Azcanta is great, but we just prefer to cast something with this mana. So I don't think he has much choice. He could go for the big thing, but it will be 4/4 from what I remember. Yeah, it's 4/4 Black Zombie. So what will you take? I think the Angel is the only, like, big choice. Yep. Okay. I wonder if anything else attacks. Okay, it will. That's interesting. He stepped out, so we mitigate the most with this one. And we will kill the apparition anyway. This way we get blocker next turn, which will be very happy, handy. And I sure hope that we get the token. If I was mistaken and we don't get the token after so much talking, I will look really bad. And we oh man, if you unsubscribe right now, I won't even blame you. I was pretty darn sure. I don't think from the wording it comes that he needs to be in game. It was exiled, unless KEFNET, so maybe the KEFNET ability makes it not exiled, so then if the creature is exiled close, doesn't trigger. So I guess it must work like this, but I honestly wouldn't know. Okay, so let's attack. This will come. That's interesting, because actually the enemy will attack us for 4, because it won't get exiled. So maybe we shouldn't attack. Yeah, the more I think that we shouldn't attack. Because all of this will be exiled, except this, which is 4/4, and this, which is also 4/4. Probably he will even get the mage, it's a bit better. So if we don't attack, then the enemy gets the thing. And he also gains life. But then we cannot block it anyway. 3, 5. So let's attack. go full control just in case. And we do want to draw cards. We also possibly get some kind of land, so in the end it won't super matter. What? Okay, so full control. Okay. I don't think we need any more of those, and I don't want the pain land, so... Okay, that's much better. And we hit for 7, which is fine. This one hurts us a bit, but we still die in 2 triggers from this, so I think that's fine, and let's do it before we exile everything. This way, if we exile small creature, it will go out of his graveyard. This cannot hit anything so far. Okay, let's go for the draw. I don't have much time, so let's just go faster. What? Oh shit. I just fucked up so completely. So we didn't have, like, I could play this one, but I just talked too much and didn't have time. Oh man. I need to watch the replay. I think I've clicked something and took the wrong type of card. Oh man, this game is completely on me. Like, I botched it so much. I think we're technically alive, but like, this is complete misplay on my part. Oh man. This is just so bad. So, this is the only way we can do things. So let's just kill the biggest thing. Oh man, so we didn't clear the board, we didn't play the land, and we lost 2 cards because I would probably call an instant. So it was... oh man. I don't think we can salvage it after my amazing turn. So, what he will take? He will only take the whale, and right now blocking has some kind of like reasoning. So I guess we could clear. If I played this, then the Skyclave apparition gets it, which isn't optimal. So it might be actually the only blocker that I will have. So let's play the first verdict. Hopefully this time we have everything. Oh man, I'm still so sad about what happened there. We have 2 islands, 1 swamp, and I don't think we have second swamp in the graveyard, so we do have 1 additional land that we can use. So we have 2 blue, so let's go for the only one we can take. And let's go for instant. Thanks God, we actually got something finally. So as you can see, our round is average, where when you don't get any cards. However, if you get those, it's amazing, especially if he leaves like 2-3 turns. Like, it's just so many cards. Especially that we have mostly instants. So, and if we want some board clear, we always go for sorcery. So, you know, you pretty much get to draw those 3 turns faster. So, will he do it? Okay, he did. But not much he can do. And we can clear it. Well, it's not a copy with... it's not a token, it's a copy, so we cannot remove it with Shadow Verdict. Let's go with Ascanta. Funnily enough, I think we can still win, unless the enemy has some kind of, you know, hit for us. We have 2 life from Contempt, and I think the multiverse is a bit better and faster. Okay, so now how to win in the most quick way possible. We want to get it done as quickly as we can. So we could go for KEFNET, I think that's the way. And we are at 1 life, so we need to be careful of this. So he will play Apparition now. And I think we say go after playing land. Because now he is forced to play the Apparition, and outside of Apparition he doesn't have anything. If he draws a good creature, he still cannot kill it in 1 turn, so it won't get haste from the gift. And when we get to play the Behold the Multiverse and things like this, I think we should shoot ahead very quickly. And worst case, I will just use Raska to kill this, and then we clear the board completely. It can nearly erase the fact that we completely fucked up. Oh man, that was insanely bad. So let's make it a testament to how good this deck can sometimes be if things work out. That you can play like me and still possibly win. I think we should win. The only thing we are really lacking is counterspell. Okay, and that's a good core from the enemy. However, this still doesn't kill us. If he plays Apparition, then we have 1 blocker. We are still at 1 HP. And let's think. We use 4 mana for Raska Contempt. So, after he targets, we want to cycle the Censor. He already has the card that he wanted, so for 5 mana he shouldn't play any kind of 5-drop. And with this, we have a chance to draw something on the enemy turn, and then KEFNET triggers. It didn't work, unfortunately. However, okay, so Abyssal is put into exile. You may put it. I still don't get this interaction, honestly. And do we want KEFNET? I think we do not. So this way, when it dies, and it will very soon, we get the token. So it's actually faster than waiting for the next KEFNET. He will take the draw a card one, I think. Yeah, and that's the correct choice. And let's see how he attacks. Okay, that's great for us. Unless it gets countered. Okay. So we trade 1 for 2. So we are at 1 HP as we assumed, and now we can clear the board. And the only question is, will the enemy get a flyer? But we will get this versus flyer probably. So whatever he draws, it shouldn't affect us. We might be holding lands just to make sure we kill him a bit faster. And that's perfect. That's exactly perfect. So let's do the thing. And this, I think, should close the game. With Hearthless Act, it's even better. With Iron, we will go for instance. But it's still so close, just because I misplayed so hard. So we should have, I think, 5 HP more. So then whatever he takes from the Pharaoh thing, it doesn't, like, kill us. And right now it does. So yeah, great me. And now let's think what we are doing actually. I think I will go with the Raven. We could also play the land, go for Behold the Multiverse, and keep up. Okay, I think that's better even. So, let's go with this. Languish. Languish is pretty fine. All his creatures are killable with this. I prefer Counterspell, but let's make sure we get something. And I want to kill him in 2 turns, so that's why I do it like this. And how many lands do we have? I think lands are better. We just want additional cards, right? And of course we got instant. Oh man. Okay, so he will be milling himself. And then he probably will take something. Okay, and he didn't hit anything, so he needs to take the 4/4 like whale thing. And let's see if he attacks. And we don't want to block, we want to kill it first. Okay, and now we draw the card and all our misplays are forgiven. At least from the game perspective. But I'm sure guys you won't remember, you won't forget it very soon. That was a good game by him. I think he did everything nicely. We were actually the worst player here after our misplay. We shouldn't have won, for sure. I'm happy it worked out though.